$30 each. Click, call, or visit a Spectrum store today.
We said we'd never break the 3-second rule. Never do that. And never become a minivan mom.
Hey, Chris.
As parents, we say never a lot, but never happens. So when you say you'd never leave your child in a hot car, know it can happen. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock.
Good morning, I'm Bree Driscoll, and here's your Spectrum News in 90. New tariffs on Canada and Mexico are now in effect. The United States neighbors are subject to a 25% tax. A 10% tariff on Chinese imports last month has now doubled to 20%. President Donald Trump says the levies are being used to punish countries taking from the U.S. economy without giving enough in return. China has already answered with tariffs of up to 15% on major U.S. farm exports. Canada vowing retaliatory tariffs on more than $100 billion of American goods. A major shift in U.S. policy towards Ukraine. President Trump orders a pause on military aid for the country. The announcement comes just days after Trump's fiery confrontation with President Vladimir Zelensky.
Well, I just think he should be more appreciative because this country has stuck with them through thick and thin. We've given them much more than Europe, and Europe should have given more than us because, as you know, that's right there. That's the border.
The president is expected to outline more of his plans for Ukraine in a joint address to Congress tonight. Pope Francis is resting this morning after he suffered further setbacks in his fight against double pneumonia. 2 acute respiratory crises required the 88-year-old to resume using non-invasive medical ventilation to breathe. That's your Spectrum News in 90.
Good Tuesday morning, everybody. I'm meteorologist Ramel Carpenter with your Weather on the Ones forecast. We have mild temperatures to look forward to once again as we continue to get into the middle of this week, but rain and snow chances are going to be picking up across the central U.S., all associated with today's severe weather threat across portions of the southern U.S. We have a level 3 enhanced risk across Mississippi into portions of Arkansas and Louisiana, and we're going to break down the impacts we can expect coming up in 10 minutes on your Weather on the Ones.
I'm Bree Driscoll, and thanks so much for joining us here on Spectrum News. Today is Tuesday, March 4th. Happening now, President Donald Trump's long-threatened tariffs against Canada and Mexico are now in effect. It kicks off a trade war with America's neighbors. Also, a 10% tariff on Chinese imports last month has now doubled to 20%. Trump says the levies are being used to punish countries taking from the U.S. economy without giving enough in return. China has already answered with tariffs of up to 15% on major U.S. farm exports. Canada has also vowed retaliatory tariffs.
We will have a strong, unequivocal, and proportional response as Canadians expect.
Some economists fear goods like groceries, electronics, clothes, and cars will increase in price, leaving investors worried. Spectrum's Angie Gonzalez has the story from Washington.
After a 30-day pause, President Donald Trump's 25% tariffs on America's neighbors to the north and south went into effect at midnight. Monday, he said time ran out for negotiations with 2 of its biggest trading partners.
No room left for Mexico or for Canada. No, the tariffs, they're all set.
Mainstream economists say that the tariffs could translate to higher costs for Americans on everything from cars to groceries. Monday, confirmation the tariffs were going into effect sent stocks tumbling. Democrats and some Republicans are preparing for how the tariffs will impact their constituents.
That is going to have impact on our farmers. That's going to have impact on multiple industries. That might mean the closing of refineries.
It's going to affect a lot of companies. We're going to have to adjust some prices for it. But the president is tired of people taking advantage of our country.
The Trump administration says the tariffs will increase American manufacturing as companies look to avoid paying those fees. Canadian officials are already responding, announcing retaliatory tariffs on more than $100 billion of American goods over the next 3 weeks.
They need to feel the pain. They want to come at us hard, we're going to come back twice as hard.
Mexico did not immediately detail any retaliatory measures. President Trump also announced an additional 10% tariff on Chinese goods, bringing those levies to 20%. China responded with additional tariffs of their own, up to 15% on a wide array of U.S. farm exports. In Washington, Angie Gonzalez, Spectrum News.
A major shift in U.S. policy towards Ukraine. The White House is pausing military aid for the embattled country days after an explosive meeting with President Vladimir Zelensky and President Donald Trump. Our national reporter Evan Kozlov has more from Washington.
A bombshell announcement Monday night. The White House hitting pause on all military assistance for Ukraine. Since Russia invaded over 3 years ago, the U.S. has funneled hundreds of billions of dollars. A White House official saying this aid will be reviewed to, quote, ensure that it is contributing to a solution.
You're gambling with World War III.
The announcement comes just days after President Donald Trump's fiery confrontation with Ukraine's president on Friday, which triggered alarm among NATO nations about weakening U.S. support for Ukraine.
Well, I just think he should be more appreciative.
On Monday afternoon, President Trump criticized President Volodymyr Zelensky once again, demanding that he get on board with negotiations to end the war immediately, blasting Zelensky's comments on Sunday that a deal was, quote, still very, very far away.
Now, maybe somebody doesn't want to make a deal, and if somebody doesn't want to make a deal, I think that person won't be around very long. That person will not be listened to very long.
The decision to pause aid quickly facing backlash from Democrats. Party Chair Ken Martin responding to the news while talking with Spectrum's Cassie Simeon Monday night.
Right now, and I never thought in my lifetime I would ever see an American president bow the knee to a foreign adversary like Russia.
With U.S. support in doubt, Zelensky spent the weekend lobbying over a dozen European leaders at a summit in London. Zelensky arguing that a peace agreement without security assurances by the U.S. would simply open the door to Russia attacking again.
Britain will lead from the front.
UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer called this a crossroads in history as he pushed Europe to increase its support of Ukraine.
We must proceed with strength, and that does now require urgently a coalition of the willing.
The European Union also now considering a surge in defense spending, as President Trump has signaled a pivot away from Western Europe and greater cooperation with Russia.
We want lasting peace, but lasting peace can only be built on strength.
And President Trump is expected to outline more of his plans for Ukraine when he gives his first joint address to Congress of this second term. That's going to be Tuesday night at 9 o'clock right here on Capitol Hill. Reporting here in Washington, I'm Evan Kozlov, Spectrum News.
Elon Musk will attend President Trump's address to Congress tonight. The senior advisor attended Trump's first cabinet meeting of his second term last week. He also joined the president in the Oval Office last month for the signing of an executive order that further empowered his U.S. Doge service. And we will have live coverage of Trump's address to Congress. Tune in tonight at 8:55 Eastern, 5:55 on the West Coast, right here on Spectrum News. It will be followed by insight and analysis from our team of political experts. We have new information now on Pope Francis, who's been hospitalized for more than 2 weeks. The pontiff is resting this morning after suffering 2 episodes of acute respiratory failure yesterday. Vatican says he was given oxygen through a mask to help with his breathing. The 88-year-old Pope was alert and cooperative. He's been battling double pneumonia and has dealt with lung issues for much of his life. The FAA is investigating after some commercial flights about to land at Reagan National Airport near Washington, D.C. repeatedly received mid-air collision alerts when there were no other aircraft nearby. The Federal Aviation Administration says some pilots opted to abort their landings, known as a go-around, as a result of the notifications on Saturday. The alerts happened only miles from the site of the deadly mid-air collision of a plane flight and an Army helicopter in January. 67 people died in that crash. Separately, the FAA says air traffic at Reagan National will come to a complete stop whenever President Trump flies nearby on Marine One. Coming up on Spectrum News, lighter winds are giving crews in the Carolinas a crucial edge in battling wildfires there, but the danger isn't quite over yet. We'll bring you the latest.
Weather can be beautiful, inconvenient, and at times powerful. And it affects everything we do. At Spectrum News Plus, our weather experts update you with the information and the context you need so you can better plan your day. And we do it every 10 minutes. We're the calm in the storm. Weather on the Ones on Spectrum News Plus, exclusively on Spectrum. And get your weather anytime on the Spectrum News app.
I really am in the middle of nowhere. Every day is different. Chores, come on, homeschooling, and then I fit in the rug business. I just got a new batch of rugs that I'd love to show you. I have a website, and a lot of what I do is sharing my home life. Mommy's leaving. Reliable, high-speed internet is the foundation of our business. Spectrum was great. They went out of their way to make sure that I was okay and I was taken care of. Shoo! And that's the awesomeness of having Spectrum.
You're not gonna get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff.
Mama!
Like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat.
Even the mighty might not see it coming. It's prediabetes, and it captures 1 in 3 adults. But you can escape. Take the 1-minute prediabetes risk test to know where you stand and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. Be your own hero on smartphones everywhere at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm meteorologist Ramel Carpenter with your Weather on the Ones forecast. Anytime there's active weather in your area, it's always a good idea to have the Spectrum News app. If you haven't downloaded it yet, it's a free app that you can get on your mobile device that gives you 24/7 weather coverage, customized weather alerts for your location or a family member's location, and you also can get a look at the radar with this app, and that is certainly going to be your friend if you live anywhere from the central U.S. all the way to the eastern coast, all associated with this potent storm system that just about everyone is going to be dealing with. There's 2 sides to this storm system. On the warmer side, we're dealing with severe thunderstorms from the southern plains and again into the mid-Atlantic and eastern coast by Wednesday. And on the colder side of this, we are dealing with blizzard-like conditions, a lot of wind energy, going to be dealing with some blowing snow in parts of the northern plains as well. We are just getting started with this storm system. This strong area of low pressure working its way east of the Rockies is going to start to work its way eastward. And this is going to be bringing in a line of thunderstorms from Kansas down through Oklahoma through the first half of the day today. And then our big-time risk for severe thunderstorms, the better risk for damaging wind gusts and tornadoes and hail will be this area in brown. This is a level 3 enhanced risk for severe thunderstorms from Mississippi to down towards Louisiana, Arkansas, and Texas. Lots of Mardi Gras festivities ongoing in the New Orleans region. And if you know anybody down there, make sure they're staying weather aware because we do have a legitimate threat for some severe thunderstorms. Along with that, we have the flash flood concern as well, a slight risk for excessive rainfall stretching from the central plains all the way down into portions of Texas and Louisiana. Lots of moisture and lots of wind energy with this storm system. And you'll see on Futurecast that we're going to see this line of thunderstorms working its way through Missouri, Arkansas, into the Mississippi River Valley as we get into the afternoon hours. But take a look at this. On the colder side of this, we're dealing with some strong winds and some heavy snowfall, which is why we have blizzard-like conditions in store for us for parts of the northern plains. But as we transition into our Wednesday, the storm system is going to be bringing similar impacts to parts of the East Coast, which includes the mid-Atlantic, down through the Carolinas, with a level 3 enhanced risk for severe weather. We'll time that out for you coming up in 10 minutes on your Weather on the Ones.
look at what you need to know this morning. President Donald Trump says new tariffs on Canada, Mexico, and China are now in effect. The U.S. neighbors are subject to 25% taxes. China will now face 20%, up from 10%. China and Canada have both announced retaliatory measures. Trump orders a pause on military aid for Ukraine, the announcement coming just days after Trump's fiery confrontation with President Volodymyr Zelensky. And Pope Francis is resting this morning after suffering 2 episodes of acute respiratory failure yesterday, forcing him to resume non-invasive ventilation. And that's a look at what you need to know. Firefighters in North and South Carolina say containment could take days as they continue to battle wildfires across both states. Our Jenna Enoch has the latest.
An intense scene in the Carolinas. Flames rained down as firefighters' helmet camera captured the moments crews battled the Carolina wildfire near Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Still burning nearly 2,000 acres, now 30% contained. And massive flames outside the front door of one South Carolina resident's home, as many do everything in their power to prevent the spread by putting out hot spots.
Top of the trees really lit up with a big fire, and then the black smoke was just pouring right out the top of it and everything. And you could just see the raging fire heading towards the house.
Thick smoke blanketed parts of Myrtle Beach, reducing visibility across the low-lying terrain. Fire rescue crews say that poor visibility caused by lingering smoke could continue through today. South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster declared a state of emergency to support containment, as crews have dropped around 60 gallons of water on the fire so far. Meanwhile, in neighboring state of North Carolina, wildfires are threatening areas already devastated by Hurricane Helene. Polk County officials said Monday that containment of wildfires along Highway US 176 had reached 63% contained, breathing a sigh of relief to so many there.
This county, this area that hit is one of the hardest hit by Helene. The whole county was hit, but this area that we're in with this fire up here was one of the worst areas impacted by Helene. So they're still in the midst of cleaning up. We still have damage to structures. We still have people trying to get their lives back together. Now we have this. So it's heartbreaking.
Jenna Enoch, Spectrum News.
A storm threatening to bring a blizzard, tornadoes, and thunderstorms is making its way across the country. Meteorologist Ramel Carpenter joins us now with more. Ramel, is a storm of this caliber typical?
Yeah, it is actually pretty common in the month of March. We get a lot of fluctuation in temperatures, and storm systems will bring just about everything. And if you live in a place like Kansas City, you're going to experience a little bit of everything over the next 24 hours with a severe weather threat one day, and then the next we're talking blizzard-like conditions across the central and northern plains. Just take a look at the winter weather alerts that we have in place across the Dakotas, up towards Minnesota, Wisconsin. In red, we have blizzard warnings in effect. Purple, winter weather advisories, and in pink, we have winter storm warnings also in effect. So lots going on across the northern plains, but we also have that threat for severe thunderstorms across portions of the southern United States. Down through New Orleans, lots of Mardi Gras festivities ongoing with the level 3 enhanced risk. That shifts into the mid-Atlantic and parts of the Carolinas as we transition into our Wednesday. So certainly going to be very active over the next 24 hours.
Be ready for anything. All right, Ramel Carpenter, thank you. First Lady Melania Trump taking a trip to Capitol Hill yesterday to voice her support for a bill aiming to help protect children from hurtful online behavior. Our Katie Strite has the story.
First Lady Melania Trump has mostly stayed out of the spotlight since her husband's inauguration. She was on Capitol Hill Monday advocating for a bill that, if approved, would protect people, especially kids, from malicious online actions.
This is First Lady Melania Trump making her first solo appearance since her husband was re-elected to the White House.
It is imperative that we safeguard children from mean-spirited and hurtful online behavior.
Her appearance was all about advocating for a bill Congress is discussing that would protect Americans from deepfake and revenge pornography. It's called the Take It Down Act, and if approved, it would criminalize the publication of non-consensual imagery, including AI-generated pornography. Part of the bill would require social media networks to remove all content after being notified by a victim.
It's heartbreaking to witness young teens, especially girls, grappling with the overwhelming challenges posed by malicious online content. like deepfakes.
It's a platform the First Lady took on during the first Trump administration, spearheading the Be Best campaign, aiming at online safety for kids.
Every young person deserves a safe online space to express themselves freely without the looming threat of exploitation or harm.
The First Lady is expected to be at President Trump's address to Congress tonight. She has invited a 15-year-old girl who spoke out about being a victim of this sort of online behavior, as well as her parents, to sit in her box. I'm Katie Straight for Spectrum News.
Just ahead on Spectrum News, an Ohio university is helping athletes with disabilities compete at the college level. Why the adaptive program is just the beginning for these students.
Spectrum News Plus. News from a new perspective, dedicated to refreshing storytelling and empowering communities across the nation. With balanced reporting, providing real context and in-depth coverage 24 hours a day.
Here's a look at your forecast across the country.
Local stories, connecting communities. We are Spectrum News Plus. Streaming now on the Spectrum News app and free with your Spectrum subscription.
Starting a business is hard. You have to stay connected at all times.
As we've been growing the studio, Spectrum's been there every step of the way. I'm always able to make the phone call that I need. I'm able to shoot that text message or that email. Every vital piece of equipment that we have here uses Spectrum.
Fast, reliable internet, starting at $40 a month, backed by the Spectrum commitment to keep your business connected.
Food isn't just fuel to live, it's fuel to grow. My family relied on public assistance to help provide meals for us. These meals fueled my involvement in theater and the arts as a child, which fostered my love for acting. The Feeding America network of food banks helps millions of people put food on the table. When people are fed, futures are nourished. Join the movement to end hunger, and together we can open endless possibilities for people to thrive. Visit feedingamerica.org/actnow.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat.
Happy Tuesday, everybody. I'm meteorologist Ramel Carpenter with your Weather on the Ones forecast. All eyes on our storm system developing in the central part of the country. And this area of low pressure emerging from the eastern Rockies is going to continue to work its way off to the north and east, which will bring blizzard-like conditions for parts of the northern plains. But the system is also going to have a strong front associated with it as well, bringing the risk for severe thunderstorms from the central plains all the way into the southern United States. But let's talk about the colder side of this storm system, where we have winter weather alerts in place from Minnesota down through Wisconsin into the Dakotas, Iowa, Nebraska, into Kansas. Kansas City under a blizzard warning as we get going into the next 12 to 24 hours. The backside of the storm system will have some strong winds and some blowing snow all across the central plains. But a lot of wind energy is going to be associated with this. We have high wind watches in effect for parts of the central plains, wind advisories towards the eastern coast as well, and likely going to see those get expanded as we transition into our Wednesday, which is where our severe weather threat will be moving into. So parts of the Carolinas down through southeastern Virginia under a level 3 enhanced risk for severe weather, damaging winds, some hail, and the threat for tornadoes are going to be the primary concerns with this particular setup. But if you look to the north, we also have a level 2 slight risk for severe thunderstorms across the Washington, D.C. area as this line of thunderstorms works its way towards the eastern coast into our Wednesday. So let's break it down with Futurecast. Blizzard conditions are going to continue through this evening across the northern plains, and then here comes our frontal system pushing towards the east. The greatest risk for severe thunderstorms today for that threat for hail, tornadoes, and damage damaging winds will be across Louisiana, Mississippi, into Alabama. That shifts into parts of the Carolinas as we get into Wednesday, especially through the first half of the day into lunchtime. But this line is going to stretch all the way down from the mid-Atlantic down into portions of the southeast. So this is going to be a pretty large storm system, still dealing with some blowing snow across portions of the Great Lakes region as we get to the backside of that. And then eventually, by the time we get towards Thursday, should start to dry out across the eastern half of the country. But temperatures are going to reflect a much colder, especially in the northeastern United States. As a result of those blizzard-like conditions, we could easily see close to a foot in some spots across Minnesota into Wisconsin as well, around 4 to 8 inches locally across the central U.S. as well. So a little bit of everything associated with this as far as rainfall totals go. Not expecting a significant amount of rainfall, but one thing you can do to keep you and your family safe is by scanning this QR code and downloading the Spectrum News app, which gives you 24/7 weather coverage, customized weather alerts, which are certainly going to be a very helpful tool for a day like today.
As the world of adaptive sports continues to grow, one university in Ohio is starting the state's only collegiate adaptive program. Spectrum's Katie Capusta shares how this program is providing hope for athletes and the community.
Micaiah Green is suiting up for her first track and field practice for the University of Cincinnati.
I'm in here. Yeah, I'm good.
The 22-year-old ran track in high school.
It looks different because unlike me using my legs like I was before when I was running in high school, my chair is my legs.
But less than 2 years ago, Green was involved in a domestic violence relationship. She was shot in her home and paralyzed.
It was an entire new lifestyle, just everything was uncharted territory. So not only was I learning to be in a wheelchair, but I was learning to deal with all the other things that came with it.
Now, Green has made strides she didn't even see coming, like joining the track and field team with the new University of Cincinnati Adaptive Athletics program.
I was striving to be who I am today, and I think it's really cool to touch other people and give them that inspiration and let them know that you can do this too, and this is just the beginning.
But it doesn't come easy, with many days in the gym strengthening her body.
It's an exercise every day, except Sundays.
And her muscles that have been damaged due to her injury.
And you don't realize everything you use your core for.
But she's not doing it alone. Along with 4 other athletes in the inaugural year of the program, program coordinator Jake Counts is there every step of the way.
So now, get your wheelie up on that. I've been really fortunate to have a ton of opportunities from adaptive athletics, so just to be able to pay that forward to the next group of athletes is really important to me.
Counts, a Paralympic basketball player, knew he couldn't pass up the chance to help young adults like Green on their athletic journey.
There you go. Try to catch the top of that rim. Try to come at it from 12. My hope for all of our athletes is, one, that they get the opportunity to take their athletic career as far as they want and where they want. And a secondary goal is just develop good people that are going to be strong and be able to face the bumps that we're all going to hit along the way.
He definitely gives us that sense like we can do that too. It's very inspiring, and he kind of holds everybody together.
For Green, this is just the start of a life she has big dreams for.
I didn't see myself doing this. This is not something that I saw in my future. I didn't even know it was something that I could do, but it's given me that hope that this is just the beginning.
For Spectrum News, I'm Katie Capusta.
The UC Adaptive Athletics program is also offering tennis to athletes with the hope of adding more sports in the near future. And don't forget, you can always stay connected with us here at Spectrum News by getting your national and local headlines on the go. Just download the free Spectrum News app. It's available in the App Store and on Google Play. I'm Bree Driscoll. Thanks so much for watching. Your Spectrum News in 90 is coming up right after this short break. Stay with us.
I tell my son, I love you every single day. I love you. My dad has never said that to me. Not because he doesn't love me, but because culturally it wasn't comfortable for him. Now that he's a grandfather, he says, I love you to my son every time he sees him. My advice to all the fathers out there, forget the cultural restrictions. They grow up way too fast for you to waste even a single precious moment.
It's game time at the arena, and 20,000 fans are looking for a win. With an ultra-high-speed network and seamless Wi-Fi, fans can get in the door fast and share the game's best moments in real time. And with Spectrum Business committed to keeping them connected 100% of the time, they won't miss a second of the action. A secure, reliable connection from Spectrum Business means the fan experience is a guaranteed win.
Sometimes in life, in order to move forward, it helps to look back.
To learn from the pioneers and trailblazers.
To gain inspiration from those who came before us.
To show us what it means to act with empathy and to show that love has no labels.
Join WWE and Love Has No Labels throughout the year in celebrating people from all communities and heritages.
Because when love has no labels,
that's a love we can all fight for.
Women are bad with money. That's what the world's been saying for centuries. But now we've got something to say.
Save it. It's time to save ourselves by saving our money.
Until we're no longer 80% more likely than men to live in poverty in retirement.
Save it. The falsehoods, the feelings of fault.
Then, the funds. Learn how to save for your retirement at WeSaySaveIt.org.